of the Desert, and I am what we call an OG SPARC leader. I have been a part of the SPARC project since the very first cohort and have seen it through many ebbs and flows since the summer of 2021. Our presentation today is titled SPARC-ing Equity for CalWORKs Parenting Students, Our New Data and Student-Driven Solutions. With research in partnership between the California Community Colleges CalWORKs Association, Project SPARC, and the Center for the Study of Social Policy. Also, a quick note to let you know that every photo you will see today will be of our lovely SPARC families. Next slide, please. You're probably wondering what Project SPARC is by now. Well, let me tell you who we are. The CalWORKs Association's Project SPARC gathers parenting CalWORKs students from community colleges to address systemic inequities in California's public assistance and higher education systems. In 2022, SPARC co-designed research with the Center for the Study of Social Policy, known as CSSP, to better understand inequities, both conducting in-depth interviews with parenting students and campus CalWORKs staff, as well as fielding surveys among parenting students. Next slide, please. SPARC is a program of the CalWORKs Association. Our mission is to support parenting students who are changing their own lives 2 generations at a time. Our vision, a California where families are economically and socially empowered through education. Next slide, please. We would like to give a big thanks to our funder. Project SPARC is made possible through a generous grant from Blue Shield of California Foundation. Blue Shield of California Foundation supports lasting and equitable solutions to make California the healthiest state and end domestic violence. When we work together to remove the barriers to health and well-being, especially for Californians most affected, we can create a more just and equitable future. Thank you, Rachel Wick, our Senior Program Officer. Next slide, please. We would also like to thank our secondary funder, the California Community Colleges Chancellor's Office, which will provide you with life-changing opportunities and a clear path to your goals. Thanks to Mia Keeley and Nicole Alexander. Next slide, please. We would also like to thank our research partner. The Center for the Study of Social Policy is a national nonprofit policy organization that connects community action, public system reform, and policy change to create a fair and just society in which all children and families thrive. CSSP works to achieve a racially, economically, and socially just society in which all children and families thrive. To do this, they translate ideas into action, promote public policies grounded in equity, support strong and inclusive communities, and advocate with and for all children and families marginalized by public policies and institutional practices. Next slide, please. Oh, thank you. Sorry, to Dr. Elisa Minoff and Ellie Kaverman for your leadership, expertise, and loving commitment to this project. Next slide, please. As I mentioned earlier, I am your SPARC leader from College of the Desert, but I am also currently just 4 weeks away from graduating with my bachelor's in psychology from Cal State San Bernardino, and I am also an only parent to my beautiful daughter. I will now pass it on to Miss Dia.
Good morning. Good morning. I just want to say thank you to all of the Los Angeles Parents College for coming out to see me today. I am a psychology major at, like I said, Los Angeles Parents College, and my major is also communications and social justice. I guess you're wondering how we partner with the CSSP to co-design research, and I'm going to let you know a little about that. Through our research, we learned more about parenting students' experiences with CalWORKs in the community college and higher education systems. We built evidence and data to inform our recommendations to policymakers and community college leaders. The research was co-led by SPARC parent leaders like myself and Center for Study of Social Policy in Washington, D.C. We conducted 40 in-depth interviews with California parenting students and 20 interviews with community college campus CalWORKs staff. We surveyed 688 Parenting CalWORK students in the state of California. Next slide, please. So our process together. In the winter of 2021 and 2022, SPARC students worked with CSSP to develop research questions, create interview protocols, and write survey questions. In spring of 2022, SPARC students and CSSP co-led qualitative interviews with parenting students and campus CalWORK staff. In summer and fall of 2022, SPARC students participated in data walks with CSSP to further identify key themes in the data and guide the analysis. You want to know what we're doing right now in winter and spring of
Alert from
2023?
software update.
SPARC students worked with CSSP to guide the creation of a policy toolkit, including fact sheets and advocacy resources, and directed plans for sharing data with you and the world. Next slide, please. You're wondering, what did we find? In short, we learned a lot. Our research confirmed what we already knew. Parenting students work hard every day to pursue their goals, often juggling work, classes, and caregiving responsibilities. I'm just going to repeat that so that resonates a little bit. Parenting students like myself work hard every day to pursue their goals, often juggling work, classes, and caregiving responsibilities. But public systems frequently create additional hurdles for parenting students, especially those of us with low incomes like myself. And systems do not do enough to help meet our needs. Next slide, please. The research implications go beyond parenting students to uncover the barriers families with low incomes generally experience navigating public systems. We found public systems do not do enough to meet the needs of low-income families, and administrative barriers, including paperwork and logistical hurdles, make it difficult for us to pursue our goals. Next slide, please. Now, this is one of my favorite videos. It's telling you, I know it's titled A Day in the Life of Parenting CalWORK Students, but really and truly, it's just the morning of a life with parenting students. Parenting students work hard to pursue their goals, often juggling work, classes, and caregiving responsibilities. I know you guys keep hearing that. It's because we wanted to resonate with everyone in the room today. Government programs and public systems can provide critical support, but do not do enough to meet the family's needs and often create additional hurdles for parenting students, especially those like myself with low incomes.
Meet Maria, a parenting student in California who rents a room for her family in a house near her community college. She and her 3 children sleep on an inflatable mattress that Maria has to put away every day, since the space is also a living room. Today, like many other days for Maria, is off to a difficult start. For weeks, Maria has been studying for this morning's big exam. Knowing that she needed to recap the material one final time, she wanted to meet with classmates at the library last night, but couldn't go because she had no one to watch her children. Instead, Maria planned to study at home and hoped for a good night's sleep. But when her daughter came down with a cold, Maria's plans got cut short and she ended up awake until 2 in the morning. When Maria wakes up this morning at 6 o'clock, she is already panicking. Her daughter's daycare won't allow children with cold symptoms, and Maria must be seated for her exam by 9:30. Her professor made it clear that he will lock the classroom doors after 9:30 to bar late students from taking the exam and won't allow retakes. On top of her school stress, Maria's CalWORKs renewal is due today. She planned on completing the forms after her exam, but now that her daughter is ill, she won't be able to, which means her food stamps and cash aid could get cut next month. It is now 7 a.m., and Maria is feeling anxious, overwhelmed, and nervous, but she has no time to feel any of these emotions because she must focus on finding a solution. She quickly begins calling family and friends to see who can take care of her sick daughter. After 30 minutes, she gets a hold of her aunt who can babysit, but only during the exam time before her aunt goes to work. As Maria gets her children ready, she remembers that her car tags are expired and that her county worker denied her request to help cover Maria's car registration. So, for the last month, Maria has been avoiding using her car so that she won't get a ticket. But today is an emergency, and Maria will have to drive her car and hope that she does not receive any fines that she cannot afford. By 7:45, Maria is heading out the door with her children. She arrives at her aunt's house at 8:30, then drops off her sons at school at 9. Now she must make the nerve-wracking dash to her campus, which is 15 minutes away. But there's traffic today, so her normal 15-minute drive turns into 20. Maria runs into her classroom at exactly 9:30, just as the professor is closing the door and giving her a disappointed look for cutting it close. She takes a deep breath. She narrowly made it. Now Maria has to hope that her chaotic morning does not derail her weeks of studying. Days like this are typical for CalWORKs parenting students, living in a constant state of survival mode as they navigate public systems that are not designed for them.
I want that to resonate with everyone in this room today, because I want to share with you a brief story that's similar to Maria's. I recently got all of my money taken off of my card, of my EBT card. And there was no way for me to go and buy groceries because of cross-cutting. I get $17 a month with EBT, and they took all the money that I received in cash. Those things happen daily with all of the CalWORK students. So I just want everyone in this room today to think about those challenges and find ways that we can become better. And now I'll pass the torch over to Mariana, the next SPARC leader. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Hi, good morning. My name is Mairani. I am the SPARC leader for Ridley College. I'm a single mother of a beautiful 9-year-old daughter. I'm currently doing a dual major in sociology and psychology with the hopes to transfer to Fresno State within the next year. In the next section of the webinar, we'll be sharing our research findings with you. Next slide, please. Our research focused on 3 areas: in CalWORKs and the administrative burdens that impact student parents, in community colleges and the challenges with transferring to a 4-year university, and in basic needs and system of housing, childcare, and mental health and transportation. Now I'll hand it off to the next presenter, Blair.
Thank you, Mayrani. Hello, everyone. My name is Blair. I am the proud mother of 2 boys. I am the SPARCs leader at De Anza College, and I am majoring in sports medicine. Today, I'll be presenting our research in CalWORKs. Next slide, please. Our research finding on CalWORKs shows CalWORKs public benefits provide a crucial support for parenting students. Parenting students often express gratitude for the program while acknowledging shortcomings. Administrative barriers make navigating the CalWORK system more difficult. Barriers in CalWORK stack on top of other systems requirements and barriers. Time spent on administrative requirements take away time to parent, study, or work. Next slide, please. Our research proved CalWORKs serves as a safety net for families and as a launching pad for parents pursuing a better life through education. The top 5 reasons parenting students enroll in CalWORKs, life transitions, and challenges. When asked, please select any of the following that contributed to why you enrolled in CalWORKs. 62% enrolled because they had a child, 51% enrolled due to loss of employment, 25% enrolled because of a divorce, separation, or end of partnership, 23% enrolled because of homelessness, and 20% due to domestic violence. Next slide, please. Our research found that while CalWORKs is a lifeline for many parenting students, low cash aid benefit levels do not allow families to meet all of their needs. Amber, a mom of 3 and a student in the Central Coast, said, CalWORKs has been very helpful, but I don't know what I would be doing without it, just because I am struggling. If it wasn't for them, I feel like I wouldn't have a place to live. I feel like it's not enough, but I'm thankful for what we do get. And now I will pass it on to our next presenter, Shannon.
Hi, I'm Shannon, and I'm a SPARC leader at Shasta College. I'm a mom of 2 boys. I transferred to a 4-year university last year, and I'm majoring in agricultural science. And now I will present bureaucracy, paperwork, and rules. Oh my. CalWORKs families are forced to navigate overly complicated systems in order to receive the benefits they are entitled to. The lack of help navigating the system leaves many participants unable to meet the requirements to maintain our benefits. Unrealistic timelines and the confusing, unclear expectations put on the participants exacerbate the stress we already feel as parenting college students. Grace, a mom and a student in Southern California, says, the amount of paperwork is a hassle because you have to log all of the hours. You have to log the hours that you spent in school separate from the hours you spent studying. You have to calculate the hours that you were traveling. That's really hard because you have to calculate everything. And then that transfers into childcare hours too. It's hard when you're 3 exams deep in finals week and you realize, I didn't do that. Next slide, please. Administrative burdens. As CalWORKs students, we often have our benefits cut or delayed because overwhelming and redundant paperwork and meetings, inaccessible or non-existent caseworkers, rigid rules that offer no flexibility. Parents must double check to make sure the county worker inputs their forms accurately and in a timely manner. When there are errors, families bear the price, getting our benefits reduced, getting sanctioned, or having them eliminated altogether. Next slide, please. When asked, has your CalWORKs cash benefit ever been reduced or disrupted for any of the following reasons? Select all that apply. 33% reported problems with paperwork related to recertification. 25% reported income changes. 25% reported delays or other problems with paperwork related to enrollment. 18% reported difficulty meeting with or communicating with county caseworker. 18% reported missed phone calls, email, or mail. 10% reported problems with paperwork related to the work requirement, and 8% reported difficulty completing hours for work requirement. And in my experience, I've personally had benefits reduced or cut because of problems with paperwork and delays on the county's end and for income changes. Among parenting students who report having had their cash benefits disrupted, paperwork and communication barriers are often to blame. Next slide, please. High turnover or non-assignment of caseworkers leaves parenting students with no one to ask if we have questions or problems. Administrative burdens force parenting students to engage in self-advocacy to ensure our benefits are not cut. When our benefits are cut, we are left without the ability to meet our basic needs, such as rent, groceries, and other bills. 3 caseworkers is the median number of caseworkers, case managers, or counselors that parenting students reported having had since they first enrolled in CalWORKs. And 50% of the survey sample enrolled in CalWORKs between 2021 and 2022, which is a relatively short period of time to have had multiple caseworkers. Melissa, a mom of 3 and a student in Inland Empire, says, I got off CalWORKs because I didn't turn something in. It was a big mess. Next time, I'm going to take a selfie of me putting my papers in this box and record myself and make a video saying, hello, it's me. I'm putting my paper in this box. They didn't get it, so I had to reapply for CalWORKs a few times. Next slide, please. Administrative burdens in public systems, including the CalWORK system, create additional barriers to our ability to focus on supporting our families and pursuing our goals. Marjan, a mom of 2 and student in Southern California, says, the thing is the government. If you apply for one program, they have all the information about you. Why can't they share? Why do I have to go through huge paperwork packets every single time for every single department? I have my kids. I have to be there for them, for their schooling, for my work, for my studies and everything. But unfortunately, that system is really time-taking. If you miss one thing, it goes back to 0. You have to start all over. It's really frustrating for people like us. And now I will pass it over to our SPARC leader, April.
Hi, my name is April Acosta, and I am the Student SPARC leader for Rio Hondo College. I am a single mother of 2, and I just earned my Associate's of Science degree in Business Administration, and I will be transferring to university in the fall of 2023. I will be discussing basic needs and systems. Next slide, please. Basic needs emerged as a key barrier for parenting students. When basic needs for ourselves and our families are not met, it is difficult for us to focus on school and career. When there are supports available, they are often difficult to access or inadequate to meet our needs, often because of intense administrative barriers like paperwork. Our basic needs include employment and income, housing, childcare, mental health, and transportation. Next slide, please. This comes from Alyssa, a mom to a 6-year-old daughter in the Inland Empire. You have to have a place in order for your kids to go to school, in order for you to go to school. You can't go to school if your kids aren't in school and in a stable home. Next slide, please. Our research showed stable and affordable housing is extremely hard to find for parenting students. Housing is often unstable or changes frequently. Almost a quarter of surveyed students had been unhoused within the last year. That's 24% of parenting students reported that they have been unhoused last year, and 1 in 4 parenting CalWORK students that have been unhoused within the last year. We define unhoused to include staying at a shelter, staying with friends or family, temporarily, and or living on the streets. Next slide, please. Despite a clear need, housing assistance is often out of reach for parenting students. 75% of CalWORKs students report they are not currently receiving any housing assistance, such as Section 8 voucher, public or transitional housing, or rental assistance from a community organization. And this comes from Selena, a mom of 3 in Southern California. The Section 8 is really hard to get into, and even low-income housing that I've seen is the same. You're waiting for years. It's hard to even get your name on the waiting list. And sometimes you're on the waiting list and then they're like, okay, you didn't qualify. Next slide, please. Housing challenges make it more difficult for parenting students to stay in school and finish our educational and career goals. More than a quarter of Parenting CalWORK students report having dropped a course because of housing challenges. That's 28% of CalWORK students. And a third of Parenting CalWORK students reported having received a lower grade in a course due to housing challenges. That's 34% of CalWORK students. And now I will pass it to our next SPARC leader, Brianna.
Thank you, April. Hi, my name is Brianna Hatfield. I am a 22-year-old married mother with 3 children. My oldest is 6, my son is 4, and my youngest daughter is 2. And I'm a student at Lassen Community College, majoring in allied health and in nursing. And I'm going to be presenting our research on childcare, which I myself am struggling to find so that I could get a job as a phlebotomist at a local hospital. We have no childcare in our area, very little. So here is our research finding. Childcare. There are often delays and burdensome paperwork which create barriers for us to access childcare. Available, affordable, and quality arrangements that meet preferences are difficult to find. When asked, what challenges have you experienced in finding childcare for your child or children, 25% 25% say providers don't accept certain types of subsidized payments. 31% report lack of quality childcare options. Another 31% report lack of affordable childcare options. And another 31% report lack of available childcare options. And 26% report delays receiving vouchers or other support to cover the cost of childcare. Next slide, please. Valerie, a CalWORKs advisor at a community college in the Bay Area says, you can have a childcare provider, but if your kid is sick, you can't send your child to school or to a daycare. If you don't have a provider or a family member or a friend, you're it. Students have to make a choice on what they do with their kid, how they maintain hours, how they get their schoolwork done. It makes it much harder because they have an added layer of responsibility in taking care of this small human who depends on them. Next slide, please. Even with existing policies that provide CalWORKs childcare subsidies, many parenting students still struggle to access childcare assistance. 43% of parenting students 43% of parenting students with children under 5 years old report that they do not receive childcare assistance from the government. 57% of parenting students with children between the ages of 6 and 13 report that they do not receive childcare assistance from the government. Derek, a father of 3 and a student in Southern California, says, childcare for us is actually really not an option because it's not in our budget and we really have to be careful about going out of the budget because we have 3 kids. If I had childcare, I would be much more readily available in school and I would do well. Next slide, please. The childcare system fails to adequately meet parenting students and their families' diverse needs and preferences. Some families do not feel comfortable with licensed childcare providers or have difficulty finding culturally and linguistically responsive care, and prefer to use friends or family instead. This especially applies to families with trauma, with different cultural expectations for caregiving and non-English speakers. Miranda, a mom of 2 and a student in Central Coast, says, not every Hispanic family or anybody who's not from the United States feels comfortable with leaving their child with somebody they don't know, especially anybody who's been through abuse. It's a difficult thing to want to let somebody watch your kid after what you've been through. And the language barrier is hard. If children speak another language, but the daycare providers are mainly English speaking, it is hard for the children to understand. Next slide, please. Without childcare, parenting students are not able to focus on our career and academic goals. Parenting students report that due to childcare challenges in the last year, their ability to focus on school and work has been impacted. 46% of parenting students report reduced work hours during the last year. 49% of parenting students report receiving a lower grade in class during the last year. And 45% of parenting students dropped a class during the last year. How terrible. Next slide, please. And I believe that is my last slide. So I am going to pass it over to our next SPARC leader, Giovanna.
Thanks, Brianna. Good afternoon. My name is Giovanna Roman, and I am the SPARC leader at Oxnard College. I'm also en route to transfer with an associate's in public policy with hopes of UCLA or Cal State LA. Of course, I wouldn't be a CalWORKs recipient without being an abundantly blessed, independent mother of one little boy who is 8 years old. Today, I'll be presenting our findings on mental health. Through much research, we found CalWORKs participants willing to share some of their personal experiences and traumas. Katie, a mom of 2 and a student in the Bay Area, shares, I actually do counseling, and my counselor tells me all the time, something's got to give. You've got to stop being so stressed out. But yeah, it's just what I have to do right now. This is a feeling we all relate to as CalWORKs recipients, parents, and students. Next slide, please. We found a difficulty with the balance of responsibilities as a parent, student, and employee. We found burdens in public systems like the CalWORKs systems create and exacerbates parents' stress, anxiety, and other mental health challenges. We also found that because of the difficult balance of responsibilities and public systems, the burdens that parenting students often struggle with are many mental health challenges, including stress, anxiety, depression, and trauma. Jackie, who's a mom of 2 and a student in the Bay Area, says, trying to maintain homework, a good GPA with the work study and all the requirements of the CalWORKs program and other EOPS program I'm in, it's a lot to handle. Sometimes I just want to nap all day. It obviously takes a toll on my mental health. It's a lot of work, a lot of stress. I feel like there's a lot of weight on my shoulders. As someone who often wants to take a nap all day, I know no matter what position we're in, this is a feeling we all know too well. Next slide, please. For some, the stress and anxiety of balancing it all is compounded by the trauma from involvement in other systems and experiences, such as incarceration, child welfare, immigration, and domestic violence. The trauma intensifies the stress from balancing roles as a parent, student, employee, and CalWORKs participant. Amber, who is a mom of 3 in the Central Coast, who has been dealing with the aftermath of her husband's deportation, shares, my husband was deported, so it flipped our world upside down. It's emotionally draining. It is. We all have our good days and bad, but my middle one is suffering the most with anxiety. She misses her dad. She says, Mommy, I miss my dad and the day's too long. I want to be with you. So I had to find her a therapist. Excuse me. While deportation isn't something I personally experienced, I could never imagine the trauma that comes from the events leading up to someone being deported in your family, let alone your father. Next slide, please. Many families struggle to receive mental health services despite most being enrolled in Medi-Cal. Both parents and children experience a gap in accessing continuous care. When CalWORKs families were asked if you or your children have needed mental health services over the last year, have you been able to access care? We found many numbers, but we found that the barriers persist for roughly a fourth of parenting students and a fifth of their children who never or rarely received mental health services when needed. There's absolutely no explanation or reason for these numbers. There should never be any parents or children in the system left behind. These parents and children can eventually get lost in the public systems, which is both devastating and a failure to those in need. Next slide, please. Mounting stress, anxiety, trauma, and other mental health challenges make it more difficult to stay in school. Public systems create and exacerbate these challenges for parents. Parenting students' own health comes last in their priorities and leads many to a breaking point where school doesn't feel doable anymore. We found that 26% of parenting students report having taken a leave from school before because of mental health challenges. And we found that 27% of students dropped a course before because of mental health challenges. This means that 1 in 4 of our CalWORKs students have their education plans disrupted for mental health challenges. We do hope to find a closure between these barriers in the mental health systems. And I do thank you for your time. I will pass the torch on to our next SPARC leader, Constance.
Thank you. Okay, so good morning. My name is Constance. I'm one of the SPARC leaders for LA Trade Tech College. I'm a single mother of 3, majoring in political science and will be graduating next spring. The following slides of research are based on what we found out about student parents regarding transportation. Serena, a CalWORKs advisor at a community college in Southern San Joaquin Valley, stated, "I have had students where it takes them 3 hours to get to and from school because they have to take one bus to the daycare center to drop off their kids. Then they have to take another bus from the daycare center to the college, then vice versa. Imagine 6 hours a day on the bus, half of that, if not more, with your child. The reality is you might live 40 to 45 miles away. However, it's a 3-hour bus ride to get to school when you factor that in." Next slide, please. I'm nervous, so excuse me. Okay. So our research showed that transportation is one of the top 5 challenges faced by parenting students. When asked in which areas have you faced the most challenges while working on your goals for an education, a career, and caring for your family, 6% of parenting students said transportation is their biggest challenge. 15% of parenting students said transportation is their second biggest challenge. 18% of parenting students said transportation is their third biggest challenge. Our research also highlights the difficulty of commuting to everyday places like to campuses for class, to children's school or childcare arrangement, and to work, the high cost of cars, gas, maintenance, and insurance, and the inaccessibility and inefficiency of public transportation. Next slide, please. Okay, so despite the clear need and the CalWORKs transportation assistance for parenting students, many still struggle with being able to access and or maintain benefits. When asked, 25% of parenting students report that they cannot access transportation assistance when needed during the last year. Alexa, a mom of 2 and a parenting student in Southern San Joaquin Valley, stated, "It's like a log and I'll put how many hours and then they'll even track my mileage, how far it is from my house so they can reimburse me with gas money. I've only actually gotten it once. So I don't know if it's because of my worker, but I've only gotten it once and it was like $30. And my car takes more than $30. Next slide, please. Okay, so 49% of parenting students stated they will need transportation assistance if they transfer to a 4-year institution after community college. Clarissa, a mom of 2 and a student in San Joaquin Valley, expressed, I tried in 2017 to go to college and I just did not make it. So I withdrew all my classes the first semester. This time around, I stuck it through and it was a lot better. Back then, I was taking the bus to get to school. I'm sorry, that's my kid. Hold on. I had a night class that my husband would take the bus to meet me at the bus stop just so I could get home. We have a car now, so I'm able to get to school by myself. If it was an hour class, the commute isn't taking 3 hours because, be careful, be careful.
So in a mom of two and a student in Southern San Quentin Valley, this is what she said. She said, I tried in 2017 to go to college and I just did not make it. So I withdrew all my classes the first semester. This time around, I stuck it through and it was a lot better back then. I was taking the bus to get to school. I had a night class that my husband would take the bus to meet me at the bus stop just so I can get home. We have a car now, so I'm able to get to school by myself. If it's an hour class, the commute isn't taking 3 hours because you take the bus. You wait an hour. You go for your hour and a half of class, and then you come back and there's another hour. 49% of parenting students report that they need transportation assistance if they transfer to a 4-year institution after community college. Next slide, please. Oh, next presenter. I'm just assisting, guys, on the next few slides. And if this is the last slide, I will.
Yes, it is.
I will present it to the next SPARC leader. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Dia. This is what makes SPARC beautiful, right? We're here to help each other out. Hello, everyone. My name is Glenda, and I am the SPARC leader for American River College in Sacramento. I am currently majoring in gerontology, social policy, and advocacy, but my main educational goal is to earn a master's degree in social work. I am also a mother to a wonderful 16-year-old son who loves playing the piano and soccer. I will be presenting our research on community college. I just want to point out that our research uncovered a great need to bridge the gap between community college and university transfer for CalWORKs parenting students. Parenting students seek higher education as a path to improve our lives. However, there are many unknowns when transferring to a 4-year university. The lack of support for parenting students at the university level is a barrier for transfer. It's scary to think of not having the support I've had here at American River College when I transferred to Chico State. As parenting students, we come to community college to pursue our academic goals and advance our careers. Many of us plan to transfer to a 4-year institution after graduation, but the barriers parents experience and systems makes it hard to plan for transferring. And we worry, will we not have the support we need after we transfer to a 4-year institution? Next slide, please. Parenting students' goals for enrolling in school are typically to get better jobs and to provide for our children. 49% of parenting CalWORKs students say that they enrolled in community college to find employment in a new field or sector. When asked, what is the primary reason you enrolled in community college? Parenting students responded, to live a better life and set an example for my daughters. Give my kids a better life. Achieving what my parents did and trying to give my child the best example. I will now hand it off to Genesis, who will discuss our research findings on transfer. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Glenda. Hello, everyone. My name is Genesis Foster, Spark Leader for Los Angeles City College, one of the original ones. I've been here from the very first cohort. And I am a mother of 4, grandmother of 1. I'm a real estate major, and I will be transferring where I'll major in business administration. So I'm going to help cover the transfer section. Parenting students often want to transfer to continue their education and to ultimately get better jobs, but worry they will not have the support they need once they arrive at a 4-year university. Martina, a CalWORKs advisor at a community college in Southern California, states, I've heard from students who are eligible for CalWORKs who transfer to the university and wish they could stay with us at the community college CalWORKs program. They really like the community support. There aren't any CalWORKs programs that I'm aware of at the university level. It's important to have something else for parenting students at the university, and specifically for CalWORKs students, so that they have something there. Next slide, please. More than half, 55% of parenting students plan to continue their education by transferring to a 4-year institution after community college. 35% of parenting students state they want to find employment, and 10% plan to continue their education or training at a different institution when they were asked about their primary education and career goals upon completion of community college. Many students ultimately want to attain master's degrees or doctorates, of which I am one, and community college is only our first step. Next slide, please. Parenting students often report being anxious about the transfer process and not knowing what to expect. Having a strong support network in community college, there is a fear of having less support in the university systems. The major role in navigating services and support filled by CalWORKs staff at community college is lacking in the university systems, and there's no dedicated CalWORKs staff available for parenting students. Grace, a Southern California student parent, states, I haven't officially spoken to anyone. I applied and received my acceptance. I honestly have no idea what to expect. My classmates who are transferring to a different university have the same consensus. We're all lost, but we're doing it. Next slide, please. So 63% of parenting students surveyed report a need for a CalWORKs counselor on campus when asked about their needs for continuing support when planning to transfer to a 4-year institution. In addition to needing support for basic needs to achieve transfer and career goals. And we'll see some of the percentages here. 90% report cash assistance, 85% for SNAP, 71% for health insurance, and 69% for childcare. 59% for housing assistance, 49% for transportation. Academic advising and career coaching is at 42%. WIC is at 31%. Job training is at 19%. Home visiting and substance use services are both at 2%. Next slide, please. Having the support to cover their basics is essential to parenting students and their focus on pursuing their goals. Our research showed that one parenting student won a full scholarship to Charles Drew University of Medicine and Science, but had to turn it down because of the lack of support and financial cost. Even with the scholarship, not one student should have to decline a full scholarship, an amazing opportunity, for lack of academic and financial support. And I will now pass it over to my fellow Spark leader, Maria.
Maria, you're muted.
Unmute, Maria.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. So sorry. My name is Maria Romero. I am the mother of a 17-year-old boy. I'm majoring for paralegal in San Diego, Miramar College, where I am the Spark leader over there. And well, once we've addressed the wide and very different overlapping circumstances that made the access to education so hard for parenting students like us, now we'll see what we've learned. And we've learned that public systems create additional hurdles for parenting students, especially those with low income, and do not do enough to help meet their needs. Systems created these issues, and systems can fix them through policy change. Next slide, please. We have some research solutions for you. You've heard from the SPARC CSSP research about how public systems create big barriers and burdens for parenting students and more broadly for all low-income families. But what's next? Implications of the research go beyond parenting students, but there are tangible policy solutions to enact now to begin to support parenting students better and to ultimately work toward better supporting all low-income families. Now we would like to show our conclusions and policy recommendations. To do so, I will give the voice to our next SPARC leader, Xochitl, to share it about it.
Thank you, Maria. Hello, everyone. My name is Xochitl Gutierrez. I am the SPARC leader of San Joaquin Delta College. I am a single parent with 3 boys, 19, 17, 10 years old. I am currently on my psychology degree. Some of the difficulties we have talked about, my kids have experienced firsthand. Having to choose between housing and getting an education is one of the hardest, is one that hurts the most. Every year when it's time to renew our rental lease, my kids and I go stress. One of the conditions of the tax credit requirements where we reside is that you're not allowed to enroll in college full-time and may do so for 1 semester a year, and only 1 person can attend. This restriction has prevented my children from beginning their educational journey, which is a missed opportunity. And as their mother, I feel horrible that my boys must put their education on hold because of this. Now that you have and heard the data with CSSP, here what SPARC has to say about the solutions. Next slide, please. First, let's discuss the housing recommendations. We believe all CalWORK families deserve a safe, healthy home to live, study, and work. All housing should reserve 20% of housing for families, as 20% of California college students are parenting. Provide parenting students with a monthly housing stipend of $100, landlord incentive to rent to CalWORK students. Next slide, please. Second, let's talk about on-campus childcare. We believe on-campus childcare should be available for parenting students on campus, not only for affluent community neighbors. 30% of our campus childcare at California colleges and universities should be reserved for parenting students at a tuition cost of the state reimbursement rate. Next slide, please. Our next recommendation is on mental health. We believe CalWORK families deserve access to continuous mental health treatment in a timely manner. County should partner with third-party mental health agencies for CalWORK recipients. No county worker referral should be necessary for mental health services. A third-party referral agency should make introductions, follow up with CalWORK families. Care Solis is an example of this model. Next slide, please. Our next recommendation is on transfer. We believe CalWORK students transferring to a 4-year university deserve program fundings to support them in attaining their educational dreams. Time clock extender for CalWORK students accepted to a 4-year university for students accepted to nursing school. Create CalWORKs programs, including study funding in all UC campuses and Cal State campuses. Next slide, please. Our final recommendations are on transportation. We believe CalWORKs families following a welfare to work plan should have reliable, practical transportation to and from all required activities, including care. Transportation ancillaries should be exclusive of all transportation costs, including registration and car maintenance. County should offer all CalWORK families the following ancillaries. 1, car registration up to $300. 2, a mileage rate for transportation, which aligns with the federal standard mileage rate with no total mileage limit. 3, car maintenance. 4, CalWORK students should be allowed to choose either public transportation or private car and service. Many counties force students to take the cheapest option, even in areas where public transportation is not practical. 5, mileage should be covered for transportation to and from children's school and childcare. 6, reimbursement for mileage should be offered to students who borrow cars, not just students who own cars. 7, students who opt for private car ancillaries should still be allowed to receive free buses from their college. Next slide, please. This brings us to the end of our SPARC recommendations. We would like to thank the Center for the Study of Social Policies, CalWORK Association, and all the agencies that have supported the project. We would love to hear from you. Feel free to reach us with any questions, comments for us, or if you would like to present this research at your school or organization. Now I will pass it to our CalWORK Association President, Monique. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give a virtual hand to our amazing student SPARC leaders. Y'all did a great job. Thank you for being here. Thank you for presenting that information. And thank you for all the work they put into that, and conducting the interviews and gathering the research and just putting all the data together. Anyone who's been involved in any type of research and data gathering, know that it's not always the smoothest ride or the easiest. So kudos to you all for that work that you've been doing. We will go ahead and